New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And hello again, dear ones. Rev BRZ with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And this is Ministers Talking Shit for Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th! Hey! There we go. Make sure you
good
play.
Good day. It's a good day.
Make sure you play 13 on the roulette wheel tonight if you're a gambler, folks. Not telling you it's going to win. I'm just saying play the, lose your money that way.
Yeah, 13. Originally 13 was, and originally 13 was a good number. It wasn't bad luck number. It was a good number. I don't know what changed it. I know there was some kind of massacre on February 13th or something I heard once that made it bad, but I don't know.
Maybe we can find out.
I don't know.
Folks, if you know, how did Friday the 13th become unlucky? Maybe ask your GPT. Ask your AI.
That's a good one. While we talk about the things of the day. And I think, speaking of 13th, did you see that President Trump invited Xi to his inauguration of China?
I did not see that one.
Yes. Trump has invited him to his inauguration.
Oh my gosh.
Now that whether he comes or not is another story. But
sure.
What does that say? I mean, you can read that a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
Because is it an olive branch or is it a setup?
I guess I might not be very popular for this thought that I've been having. Because, okay, this has obviously happened. It's happened for a good reason, meaning Trump's presidency. It's happened for some cosmic, divine reason that I can't see, that I can't understand. So there must be something in here that's for my growth. Got to be something in all of this for so I don't like the visuals of it, of having dictators on our stages. It's a matter of the people you most hang out with and the people you platform. Right? The man's always wanted to hang out with the dictators, it seems. Maybe he could name Assad to his. Can he put Assad on his cabinet? Can he give Bashir a job? I mean, the guy and his family had to run away in the middle of the night and hide in Russia, of all places. So Trump's going to invite Xi. Next thing we know, we're going to have, what's his name from Russia, from Korea?
Putin.
Putin. Wow. I hadn't even thought that far, that he could invite Putin to come to the White House.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Assad is already in Russia.
Right.
And so what does that say? And I don't know, I lost my connection here. I don't know if I'm still sound. My video went away. Maybe they didn't like me. They didn't like me talking about she coming in and whatever.
I'm not supposed to tell people about that yet. What are you doing? You're not supposed to tell people about that yet. I saw it on the news.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened to my video, but it's funny that we have these different, I don't know, these different setups that we have where people really don't I don't know if they're paying attention to this stuff.
Sometimes I think his plan won. Not him.
Mm-hmm.
His plan of disinformation. He got to the point where the average person is now so completely apathetic about any of it. Heard his name too many damn times. Don't want to hear his name ever again. They're checking out. Like, if I had woken up on a Friday morning and saw a headline that said Joe Biden invited President Xi to the White House, I don't think there's anything that would have gotten in my way to open up that article and find out what the heck was going on. But I did see that headline this morning.
Right.
And you and I didn't even take the time to talk about it in the pre-show. Right? Because it was like, well, of course the jackass is going to do that.
And as with everything, there's plus and minus, right? Now, we know people with power, however they want to establish power, or however they want to classify the power, they stick together. Who's to say, him and she get together and say, look, we're gonna do this little terror fake thing, but really we're just gonna make sure our pockets get lined. And we'll make it where it won't be that bad, but then we'll make it really good. And who knows what these cats talk about.
Right.
Now I know that's kind of weird and off to the left, but stranger things have happened. I mean, I'm gonna go back in history. Who would have thought that our government would have gone to Tuskegee, Alabama, and infect Black citizens with syphilis just to see what it does?
Right. Or infected Native American.
How it affects the body.
Yep. Or affect Native American blankets with smallpox, or who knows what kind of crazy, weird bullshit experiments they're doing right now too. Yeah.
Or give LSD to soldiers.
Yep.
Now if you were to hear these things in a conversation, you say that's a lie. They didn't do that. But they did in all three cases.
Right. Well,
And that's not conspiracy, that's fact, right? Those three things actually happen. So
right.
when you get to, and now we're going to put in a lot of, we look at all of the stuff that happened with J. Edgar Hoover when J. Edgar Hoover was head of the FBI. Now we're looking to put this guy Patel over the FBI, who's a staunch, Trump ally, constituent, whatever. Who knows what might go down?
Right. You're very right. It's, I guess part of it for me is the letdown, the sense of defeat in that I really did think we were beyond all of this shit. I really, I knew, so coming,
Right.
growing up as a young man, you kind of know that, well, the government's kind of dirty and there are these things. And there's always been the conspiracy theories. And the internet has allowed for the proliferation of those conspiracy theories in a major way. However, it ceases to be a conspiracy theory when we eventually find evidence that, oh shit, we really did do this. Right. And I'm sure there were people in Syria that were still defending Assad up until last week when he ran away. Right. I said this to you last week. We didn't talk about it because we didn't have time to really prep for it, but there's no better way to, nothing like a dictator leaving his country for the rest of the world to bomb the shit out of that country. Because that's what happened, folks, if you didn't hear about it, right? I don't know how many people, how many innocent civilians, how much collateral damage, how many bystanders, but in that regard, we and other, quote, Western powers literally bombed the hell out of Syria last week. We took out close to 100 targets. That's a lot of money that we spent to bury the conspiracies, to prove the conspiracies, to prevent the future, to change the future. Russia is all but pulled out of Syria at this point. There's good military photography of Russia abandoning Syria and taking all their warships out of Syria. They've all but abandoned their base in Syria at this point. So I don't know where I'm getting with this other than it's almost impossible to know what is and what isn't until years later when hindsight, when we have hindsight, because we all know hindsight is 20/20, right? We're going to get to see it. But it's going to take a while before we get to see really the truth of what's going on here, other than the truth that we want to make for ourselves and that we want to create for ourselves amidst the chaos.
It's almost like I forget the type of book it is, but it's like it reminds me of those books where you create your own ending, right? You get an opportunity to insert characters and insert subplots, and the book is and so everybody's reading the same book, but the ending of the story comes out a little different depending on what character or subplot or drama event gets added or taken away or not looked at in your story, but it's the same story.
Right. And I think that, and as we take that line of I'm really kind of tired of people making up stories, of outright lies.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson is supposed to be is a politician, supposed to be a champion of truth, right? Supposed to represent the people, right? This past week, he said about 1% of federal employees are, quote, actually working in the office, end quote. That's an outright lie. It's an outright lie. Political fact calls it a pants on fire type of lie. And you're on the winning side now, so you don't need to lie. Like your guys,
but we know.
You guys won. Why do you need to lie to us? Why can't you tell us the truth?
Here's why they need to get here.
Like, I want to hear him come out and say the truth. I want him to come out and say, look, we don't like the way the American government is anymore, so we're trying to take it apart piece by piece, and we're going to tell you whatever we need to tell you so you believe us that the Department of Education is no longer necessary, and that the Health and Human Services is no longer necessary, and that the FBI is really just a bunch of Gestapo cops for the president, and tell us what you really think, will you? Stop. Tell us what you think.
You know, I would submit that part of this whole thing there about, I heard a piece of that article yesterday where part of the Doge committee is going to be looking to get people back into the office, right? Back into those federal offices. And that's a real estate concern, right? We have all these buildings that are relatively empty, that they're still paying taxes and they're not generating any revenue. Because it's a whole ecosystem, right? When people go into buildings, then the little small business, the coffee shops and the knick-knack shops to get some surprise gifts for your wife when you go home, all those things are suffering right now because there's no foot traffic. And a lot of those small businesses deal with foot traffic and catering to the parties or whatever it is. That's gone. So now they have to get the real estate back. They got to try to get some of these small and medium-sized business back into business, because eventually everything is going to flatten out, and then we're really going to have a problem. And I think in factories.
And that's my point there, Z. I think the American people are intelligent enough to understand the economics and the cause and effect of what you just explained to us. But they don't. They think, right, they want to make it about making government more effective. No, you don't. You're trying to disassemble the government. You're trying to make it so that you can do whatever the hell you want as titans of industry, as innovators and visionaries of industry and commerce. You want to try to make it so you can do anything you want. And you think the American people are so stupid that you can lie to us and tell us that, well, the buildings are really empty anyway. Right? Tell us the economy needs help, and we believe that by getting people back into the workplace in physical locations will downstream help the mom and pop stores and the economy as well. Don't lie to us and say this is about making the government more efficient and effective. These guys, Doge committee, that is, and I'm going to freak out today, because to me, that's like a tongue-in-cheek little insider joke about how we're about to rip off the American public through crypto. Crypto is one of the seedy. Did you hear the Hawk Tua story?
No.
All right, you know the whole Hawk Tua girl, right? Do you know the Hawk Tua girl?
No, not at all.
So it's one of the on social media, there's a trend where anybody can pick up a microphone now and go out on the street and interview people as they're coming out of bars and clubs and stuff like that. So it's become real popular to hang out in the college areas and get college people's reactions to different things. And this one guy is talking to this young woman, and they're talking about sex, and you don't even, I don't even know the backstory or the context, but the punchline is the girl goes, you know, every so often you just got to turn around and kind of hawk to it and take care of him. Talking about oral sex, right? Well, it becomes a meme and it becomes an internet sensation and it becomes this and it becomes, and this girl's now, and then somebody like, so somebody gives her a podcast. Now the girl's got a podcast, right? No talent, no desire, just one good little quippity quip about sex, and suddenly she's a sensation. So this gets better. So she's got a podcast. So somebody decides that she'd be great for a meme coin. So they put together a team of crypto experts to create a meme coin. Now, next question. Some of you out there watching may know, some of you may not, but do you know what a rug pull is in crypto? It's basically a scam. A rug pull is what it's called. So it's basically a scam from the start. And these are happening every day all around the world. Somebody sets up a coin. They give a whole bunch of that coin to their friends, quietly, privately type thing. And what happens with these coins is when they hit the market, a ton of people buy them and speculate. So the price immediately shoots up. So a rug pull is when all the people that were given tons of these free coins at the beginning, privately, in a pre-sale, in different ways. So there'll be these shadow people, these hidden people that are holding on to tons of coins. Well, as soon as the price gets to a high enough point, they sell, the price drops, the average day investor that was speculating that coin loses all his shit, and it feels like a rug's being pulled out from underneath it. And that's what it is.
Right.
And it's a setup, and it's a scam from the start. So somebody got to the hawk to a girl, told her this would be a good idea to start your own cryptocurrency and have your own crypto coin and have a meme coin. And the whole thing was a ripoff and a scam, and they rug pulled it like within 20 minutes. These con artists just outright stole millions from everyday investors, from everyday people that are trying to figure out the world of crypto and make some money. The concept of this new crypto millionaire is like screwing shit up. You said it when we came in, you're tired of influencers. Most of those people are influencing people to buy into these types of crypto scams. And Dogecoin has been, now I'm not going to say it's a rug pull because that's not what it did, but Dogecoin has been part of this leading edge to me of the wild, wild crypto world. And a lot of it is scams and ripoffs. So again, to me, the whole Doge committee is like,
and you know, well, what's going to happen though? What's going to happen right now with this administration? It appears that they're going to legitimize the whole cryptocurrency market.
Oh,
right.
Shit,
they got some kind of, they got that they're going to do it. They got the old SEC guy that's going to be over there, forget the committee. They're going to, and now you got Congress saying, well, yeah, you know, and I heard somebody the other day saying that it was, it's like gold. I'm like, what? The gold was backed on gold. Crypto is not backed on anything but
wasted
but
energy.
hype, if you will. There's nothing behind it, right?
Right.
And so
if all crypto goes away tomorrow, the economy does not crumble. Only the fake economy, only the fake stuff crumbles.
And then the other part of it is going to be this, you know, that coin now is Bitcoin anyway, probably some of the other ones are heavily used on the dark market or the black web, or to do seedy undercurrent things, and it makes it almost impossible to track, right? So now you're going to have I'm gonna say you got a legitimate currency to finance all this stuff.
It's scary. So, like, I need some serious prayer here today, folks, because what I just woke up to is this whole thing could be a 4-year rug pull. This whole thing could be nothing more than a massive rug pull to try to move the wealth of the average citizen into the hands of the elite. I mean, do you really think?
And did I tell you?
Did you really think? Does anybody really think that Trump's going to do the things he says he's going to do for the betterment of American people, for the betterment of our country and our people? I just don't believe that. He's going to do what's best for him. And that means move the money out of the sucker's pocket and put it into mine. There's a sucker born every minute, and there's a con artist sitting at the top of the country just waiting to take all our money. I hope I'm wrong.
I've encountered Trump for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been in proximity, if you will, to Trump since like the late 70s in New York, when he first started doing his real estate stuff, and he had something on the West Side Highway. He built that thing, and then he did some other stuff in the city, and then he went over to Atlantic City and did Trump Taj Mahal, or whatever the heck that thing was called. He had some projects down there in Atlantic City, and it's always been controversy around him. Now, the dude is the ultimate salesman. Now, just because he a con artist, all right, I'll change that name. I'll try to be nice. He's the ultimate con artist. He has the gift of gab, and if you notice, all of his stuff is, I don't think he ever says a sentence more than 6 or 7 words. And then he repeats that 3 or 4 times. And then he used these superlatives to hype up the energy behind it. There's very little substance in anything he says. But he knows that for people to pay attention to something, there's a rhythmic pattern to how you say it. There are certain words that and inflections and hand movements to get you pulled in. And then he just sticks with that. And people, it's going to be great. It's wonderful. We're going to make a change. And those are the things that stick in people's head. But he, on the undercurrent, is doing something totally different. And it's going to be interesting to see if he takes this last shot at president to really do something positive for the country. He says he's for the country. Let's see how much he helps the little people, so he said, and the average worker and the people who are uneducated, as he said, that have gotten left out of the American dream.
I'm not a gambling
if that American dream is.
I'm not a gambling man, but I wouldn't put $1. I wouldn't drop $1 on a belief that he really has it in his heart to help us, to help people, to do. I don't think he sees anyone with a net worth of less than $1 million as a real person. I just don't. We're numbers, we're fodder, we're cattle, we're chattel, we're we're zombies, we're whatever he needs us, right? But there's some good people in there, I'm sure. Right? There's some people in there that might be close enough that I can get that they can, that I can take some money from. But if you're under $1 million, you ain't got enough money for him to take it. And that's what he wants. That's all he wants.
Well, and well, maybe I tell you what, I hope since he's, got whatever he got, I hope he can find out what's going on with these drones in New Jersey. That's what I'm hoping. It's obvious that they got some money because don't nobody know where they're coming from. They can't find them. That takes a lot of money to fly these flying cars, as some people have described them, all over New Jersey, certain northeastern part of New Jersey, and nobody know where they come from. So hopefully he can talk to them people and find out what money they got going on and figure out how to do that. and the Jetsons, and that's just going to make the Jetsons are here now. The Jetsons are here now.
Yes. I'm trying to.
Unbelievable.
I'm doing a little.
I mean, they're saying that these things are, like mini cars, like some of those little minis.
Right.
And they're flying around in the air. They haven't found them taking off. They don't know where they land and don't know what they're doing.
This reminds me of so many things.
So
all right. So back in it's been, we're 5 years out. This happened here in Colorado, in the Eastern Plains of Colorado, in December 2019. There was a big concern. Now, they didn't sound like car-sized drones at that time, but there were formations and all kinds of different drone sightings in December and January of 2020 in and around. Now, the world changed pretty drastically shortly after that, and everybody lost track of that story, and it was never solved. The FAA never released a report. The FBI never released a report. Nobody's ever released a report. They just stopped citing them. So, but it reminds me of the crackheads in Salt Lake City back in like the, man, it would have been what, like 2000, late 90s. Don't ask me how I know this. There was a thing running around with all the crackheads in Salt Lake City that there were that the government had a secret base not far from downtown where these nighttime UFOs would take off and surveil the population. These people swore it was this thing. If you wanted to be there at like 3:30 in the morning, you could go see these. And I never did it. None of my friends ever, but it was this underground story in the drug world in and around Salt Lake City. And you'd run into people and, man, you seen a spaceship yet? What spaceship? Oh, it's a spaceship. It goes up every morning at like 3 a.m. from over on the west. And the story was everywhere for a while. Like, it was a super underground story in Salt Lake. And this reminds me of that somebody is running some sort of hysteria experiment. Because, the next thing that's going to happen is people are going to pick up their guns and they're going to start shooting at these things. Whether they're friendly or not so friendly, I don't want to see a bunch of people from New Jersey shooting at the sky. It's not going to be safe.
And what if, now I just sat here and thought about this. What if, and this is pure conspiracy or speculation, they've been having these real APOs or APFs, whatever they call UFOs now. They call them something else. They don't call them UFOs no more.
UFAs or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever they call it, same thing. They don't know what it is. What if this is a ploy to get your mind off of that? Well, they got some real stuff out there that they really don't know what it is. So let's create some hysteria around these drones while we try to figure out what these real aircraft that do all kind of crazy stuff based on our modern physics we cannot do.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look over there.
I'm just speculating.
Hey, just look over there, man. Look at that thing over there. somebody bring in the drones. We're starting to pay attention again. Somebody bring in the drones. Let's create some hysteria somewhere.
And when I think about it, when I look at, we started, early talking about the old ancient spiritual saying. So we bring it back to the spiritual principle, right? As above, so below, as below, so above. That no matter where you are, no matter what situation you find yourself in, there's always for lack of a better word, a redeeming point. There's always a redemption point, right? And this is the cycle of life, right? And so I think, one thing that I like about what we do here on Friday mornings is we look at all of this stuff and try to stir the pot a little bit for people to begin to become aware, to ask questions, to get involved, and do it from a spiritual perspective so that we can begin to say, that whole story, this is the same story with a different background. If you go to a play, they start the same actors, but they change the background scenery. They change it from trees to a cityscape, and then they go back to the woods.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with. These issues are there. We have to become more attuned, more smart, more aware, more questioning so that we can elevate the story beyond the pettiness. That's what I think. I'm a sick of coffee.
I think we're in for a wild ride. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming years. I don't think, and truthfully, folks, I don't think American society is going anywhere. I think the American culture, if you will, has always fluctuated, has its ups and downs. It's part of what makes this country so great, in my opinion. And I don't think we have to make America great again, because I don't think America ever stopped being great. Truthfully, I think that we are on a path of progress, and for some reason, and I've never, as far as I've never really been in an abusive relationship, but I see that analogy that we want to keep going back to this guy for some reason, knowing that he's going to slap us around and knowing that we're not going to make any progress, and knowing it's going to take a little while after he binges out and takes off for the weekend, or we kick him out or whatever, that it's going to take a little while to get ourselves back to stasis, that it's going to take a while to get back to where we are before, where we were today, but we're going to survive. And we're still going to be here in 2 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. And we're still going to be working, I believe, towards the betterment. If we want to use a judgment statement like better, but we're going to be working towards the future of this country and the American people, the society and the culture of which we're a part of. It sucks to have to look at some of what might be in front of us because we've traveled this road before, right? Within days of taking office, last time Trump enacted the Muslim ban on letting people travel to America. It was stupid. It was bigoted. It was wrong. And we survived. And I don't believe that ban still exists in its same form. I know it's not effective if, we're not enforcing it if it is, because people are back to being able to freely challenge travel. But,
like you said, when we look at the automobile from when it was first created, early 1900s, the cycle of the production of automobiles has happened a number of times. And after each iteration of that cycle, the automobile got, I'll say, better and better and better, till it's gone from a thing where I had to get in front of it and turn a crank to get it started, to now I don't even need to be in the car to start it. Right. I could be in my house and start the car and cut the heater on before I even leave the door to get in the car. So that cycle has created some problems, but the end result has created something different, right? And then when we look at you were talking about the whole idea of this country being great. From what I can summarize, from what I've learned out of all the crazy stuff they did, and I don't even want to go down that path, I won't have enough time, but the idea that made us great, I believe, was this idea of being a melting pot, where we took different people from different cultures, from different regions, from different ideas to come together, so that every time we recycle this car, so to speak, we get a better variation of the car. And that's what made America great, if you will, made us a great nation, is because we took the give me your huddled masses, all the people who came from meager beginnings, who had creativity, who had insight, who had experience, and knew how to go from a hard space to a not so hard space.
Right.
And those people are being discounted and pushed aside now, because the cats who've gotten to the top, they just want to stay foot fat and cushy, it appears. And so they're not letting these huddled masses get together. So again, we got the separation and all of that. And we the people must remember primary spiritual teaching number one: we are one. There is one. And when we start dissecting it, we start weakening the power that we inherently have, is that as we'll work together, we have to sort through the muck and the mire to come up with, at the end of the day, that lotus flower comes up beautiful as ever, and all that muck has made it come up brilliantly. And that's how we got to be.
Mm-hmm. Our dear friend Linda's with us saying we need to commit to holding the light. Yes, Linda. Absolutely. And I do believe that is what we were advocating here as well. And you just brought forward another great analogy, Z, that again, we don't have time for, folks. We got to wrap this up. But you don't grow a lotus if you don't have mud. You can't grow a lotus flower without mud. It comes from the mud. It's necessary part of the whole system. And boy, are we up to our ankles in it now. And in about a month or so, we might be up to our nipples in it. But we're in the mud, and it's rising. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I need some prayer work today. I'm gonna go call a prayer partner after this. Folks, we want to thank you for being with us here this morning. We always do have a good time. Never pretend that we're solving all the problems of the world, but we sure can talk about them, and trust that our years and years of spiritual practice and education can give us, hopefully lend a spiritual view to all of this as well. And we shall survive, we shall prevail, we shall continue, and the day will come when we pull ourselves up and climb back out of the mud. And we're going to be here with you each and every day of it. We'll be here every Friday, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Z, any final thought before we wrap this up?
Hey, people, pull together. Educate yourself, educate your friends, and know the truth that this too shall pass.
Amen. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We've got a full day of broadcasting here on New Thought Media Network. Please stay tuned in. Until next time, we want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.